Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends. We are so excited on this unique JCB Live because we have the absolute empress of caviar, the queen, the duchess, all of the above. She's created an amazing magazine named Caviar Affair. She is the leader of the caviar world in the United States and beyond. And her fabulous vision for caviar has gone beyond everything else. She's created what we call Caviar Gem, dear friend. And Polina Steier has been in the caviar world forever. So she's going to tell us a lot of secrets. And then we have a secret guest, dear friends, we're going to bring in a second. And he's the king of cocktails. So we are with a true aristocracy, meritocracy, the absolute leaders of the world of caviar and cocktail tonight. So I want to be careful when I direct the court, but here it is. We went wild. You see, Polina, you come to Yonville and the JCB Lounge and you get us all excited. Welcome. Cheers, cheers, cheers. And dear friends, the person appearing on the screen now is the famous Brian van Flandern, one of the most famous mixologists of all time. Not only he's written 5 books on the topic, and at the same time, he's won every single competition in the world of cocktail, creativity, white spirits, brown spirits. Well, he is the man who's not only written books, but create the magic that you want to have in your hand. So Polina, Brian, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. I should hire you as my publicist.
You're looking very good there. What a beautiful bar you have.
Ah, thank you. Yes, for those of you out there who watch the show, The Property Brothers, they just renovated my house and they built me a brand new custom built wine wall and bar, wet bar. So this is my first chance to show it off.
How appropriate for you to have one of the most magical and most beautiful back bar. I mean, it makes so much sense for the king of cocktail. But now we should ask Polina, what attracted you to caviar, to this ultimate phenomenal black egg?
I love caviar so much. Since I was a kid, the first time I put caviar in my mouth, I was just obsessed and completely fell in love with the taste of it, the flavor, just the everything, every little nuance of it. And I always knew that I wanted to have caviar a big part of my life, which I have, obviously.
So how lucky you were as a child to taste caviar. How did that happen? Were your parents fan of caviar?
They loved caviar very much, but as a special treat, we had it back in Europe. So, and then I grew up having it on special occasions. And actually, I wanted to have people enjoy caviar on more than just a special occasion. And that's why we're here talking about the lovely gems today.
The daily occasions. But before we go on daily gem, and before we go into Brian's phenomenal vision and description of this wine, tell us about Caviar Affair.
Wow.
Because this is so cool, dear friends, to have the lady who created one of the coolest magazines around caviar. And can you believe it was 18 years ago?
Yes, yeah. The magazine just turned 18 years old. We're still old school print, and we have readers all over the world. And we have wonderful editors who are award-winning, top in their game in their special categories. So we've curated a great team of great writers who inspire and innovate our readership with passion. They write passionately, and that's really what I inspire our readers to lead a life well lived with passion.
And we love passion, and it's not just about caviar, though. In Caviar Affair, you talk about beautiful boats, beautiful cars, beautiful homes. I mean, everything's beautiful in many ways.
Yes, we do. We have.
So you use caviar as the catalyst of it.
We do, but when we first started the magazine, our readers they bought and enjoyed quite a lot of caviar. And that's how we started the magazine. And then they still do. Our readers love caviar. They live a life full of beautiful food and adventure. And that's why the magazine is quite wonderful today and much loved. We're very happy about that. We're proud of it.
So how did you become such a great friend of the illustrious,
Brian.
famous Brian himself?
Brian is amazing. So many years ago, we came across books by Austeline. Brian wrote three more than that, beautiful books on modern tequila, vintage tequila, and cocktail, the modern cocktail. And we fell in love with his books and his writing. So I called up Brian. I said, Brian, I'd love to get your voice on our pages. Would you like that? And of course, thankfully, he said yes. And he wrote beautiful articles for us. And that's how we became great friends. And we've collaborated on various projects together. And here we are.
Here we are. Well, Brian, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'll tell you, it wasn't much of a hard sale. She says, Brian, I have this caviar product I want you to try. Would you please evaluate it for us? I said, let me think about that. Very difficult decision, but we've become very good friends since, and it's a pleasure and a joy.
So Brian, on your background, you have an insane, unbelievable background. Why don't you give all our friends with us tonight, because I know not only we're going to have a lot of friends who are going to watch this video, but they're going to save it because they want to hear it over and over again. So fortunate we are to have the both of you. So give us your background in the world of spirits and food and senses in general.
Well, for me, it started back in 2004. I was in New York City, and I opened up a neighbor of yours, Chef Thomas Keller. We opened up Per Se in New York City. And of course, that restaurant, when it opened, was a phenomenon. It was the #1 new restaurant in the world, Michelin 3 stars, Mobile 5 stars, New York Times 4 stars. And for me, it was just an eye-opening experience. And to work with Chef Keller was truly a life-changing experience. And he has such a great attention to detail, such a great passion for food and pairing. And we learned how to pair wines with food and this and that. And finally I said, why can't we do this with cocktails? And Thomas said, well, Brian, show me. And I was like, oh, what have I said? What do I put my hand over my mouth? And so for me, it was original thought, but it just happened to coincide with the birth of this global cocktail revolution. We're seeing the best bartenders who are emulating the great chefs. They're sourcing farm-to-table ingredients. They're balancing the acids and sugars. They're reducing the ethanol, and they're creating food-friendly cocktails. And so in 2008, I established a Creative Cocktail Consultants. It's a global beverage consulting company and hospitality company. And I educate on Michelin hospitality standards as well as mixology. And I redesigned beverage programs for restaurants, resorts, and hotels all around the world. It's Food Network calls me America's top mixologist. I do a lot of TV and books, but at the end of the day, I'm just a guy who likes to make a delicious tasting drink. It's not that hard.
Well, we commend you for showing us the way and, inspiring us, because a mixologist, a cocktail perfectionist like you is like an amazing chef, right? Is it putting ingredients together in a very complex way and creating magic?
Well, I would never presume to usurp the title of chef, because that's a completely different skill set, and I bow to their greater, superior food knowledge. However, I always liken a mixologist is to a bartender as a chef is to a cook, in the sense that we're innovating and creating new flavor profiles, and we're very much aligned with the kitchen. And any successful cocktail program, you have to be friends with the chef.
So what is so exciting today is, we're very, very fortunate that Polina, through her love of caviar, has created something totally new in the world of caviar. So maybe we should ask Polina, what was your inspiration behind this gem that you've created, and why everybody should have it?
Great question. Hi. So I love caviar. I'm passionate about great, beautiful caviar. And I've been fortunate enough to taste many of the world's greatest caviar, the best of the best of the best. And I wanted caviar to be accessible for more people and for more people to really enjoy playing with caviar. Because usually caviar, traditionally, you get it, you enjoy it, you put it on blini, and it's wonderful.
Yes.
I wanted people to play with it. So came up with the idea to dehydrate it in a very special way. So I work with biologists and sturgeon scientists and people who are quite knowledgeable in this technology to do so. And so we, and sturgeon farmers, very specifically handpicked sturgeon farmer that we work with to be able to harvest the roe, take it, make sure it's perfect. We dehydrate it, and then we put it in these beautiful glass jars that are just so much fun.
So can you believe, dear friends, we're going to be tasting dehydrated caviar, which is so cool. I'm like Polina and, of course, Brian, we are crazy fanatic of this little black eggs. And this is so cool to be able to discover the dehydration of it. I need to tell you, I fell in love so much that I said, would you allow us to put our name on it so we could really as well push it with our caviar vodka and truffles and the world of luxury we live in? And Polina said, yes. So do you want to show us how cool it looks?
Yes.
So look at this. Oof. Woo. So Polina, I'll let you demonstrate to the world.
Yes.
Dylan is zooming in.
Yes.
He's
So-
coming
so it's
close
very-
to your beautiful fingernails, which are of a great caviar color.
Thank you.
Love it. Love it. All the details.
So Caviar Gems is very much, it's dried. It's very similar to like a good truffle or beautiful saffron. And so here we go. And here's it is. And you could sprinkle it. You can dust it. I can put it on the table here. You can eat it anywhere you'd like. You put it in eggs, you put it in pasta,
So look at that.
risotto, everything.
So if you make an egg omelette, you just sprinkle a few of those, right?
Yes, yes. Put it
I've tried it even in salads. So good
yes,
it
you
was.
can make, and you can make salad dressings out of it.
Mm.
We love it. Yes, and we've sent it to top Michelin star chefs worldwide. They love it. The cool part is you could now make caviar cocktails out of it.
All right.
I mean, it's cool. You cannot do that with other caviars. You can, make, and we're not replacing caviar. I love fresh, good caviar more than anyone. But this is the best thing as well. So it is caviar. It's real one. The only ingredient in this, Jean-Charles, is 100% pure Ocetra caviar. That's it.
Can you believe,
That's
dear friends, Caviar Gem. Ooh la la. So, Polina so excitingly reached for Brian, the master, the king, the emperor as well. So we between two emperor and empress. I suspect they're having an affair, enjoying caviar together, leaking on each other's arms the delightful fruit of Mother Nature and the ocean. Ooh.
Ooh.
So Brian,
Yes.
you love to experiment. You're the man of full creativity. So tell us about what you think of Caviar Gem and what you've been playing with.
You will give me a second. First of all, my wife is watching, so about the affair thing, let's just set that aside. Now, I do want to say that I want to brag on Polina for a second here, because this is a product, and I don't want to sound like an infomercial. This is just an extraordinary product, which I fell in love with instantly. And I think every chef and every home chef should have this in their pantry. And the reason is it's a shelf-stable, 100% Ocetra caviar product. And Polina has already mentioned some of the food suggestions, but as a mixologist, I love working with this because I can use it dried on the rim, or I can actually infuse it with different liquors, different syrups, different flavors, and plump it back up and still get all the flavors of not only the Ocetra caviar and that have it burst in your mouth, but also you can incorporate other flavors to it. It's ideal for mixology, and it's something that the industry has been missing for such a long time. Thank you, Polina, for bringing it to our to our
Pleasure, Brian. It's the crispy caviar, the crispy
Yes.
caviar.
I'm in love with it. Did you ever try it over chips even?
Yes,
Yes.
delicious every way.
I
Anyway,
want your viewers to think of it like it's almost like crispy capers, but it has a little bit of that brininess from the sea. It's we all know what it's a little bit more concentrated flavors, and it's just phenomenal. So in that regard, we decided to make a very special, opulent, luxury cocktail today. If you'd like to give it a whirl.
Oh, we would love to see it. Dear friends, the best mixologist on the planet. So if we believe we live parallel planet, he may have a twin brother somewhere else in the world. But you look at the sphere, which is 40,000 kilometers round, he's number one. Whichever way you look, Brian is number one. And he's going to show us Polina.
I do want to say, I wanted to create a cocktail that really, most of our viewers, they really are looking for that affordable luxury experience. I mean, obviously, some of us, not all of us, can have the yacht and the expensive cars and the houses and all that stuff. And so this is something that anyone can do, and yet it is the optimal expression of luxury. And so for this first cocktail, I did a cocktail called, and perhaps some of you know the reference, Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams. And that is actually in deference to, my wife and I moved to Las Vegas, and that's in deference to the late, great Robin Leach, who used to travel the world and show off the richest and famous houses in the world. And so Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, this one we're going to use, I took advantage, I hope you don't mind, of the JCB collection of spirits and wines because they're phenomenal. And so we created an ultra luxury cocktail. And so for this one, we're going to start off with the caviar vodka. And it's very important to know right away, the vodkas, all your spirits are made with grapes. So when we think of vodka, most people think of barley, wheat, corn, or rye. This is made with grape distillate. So we're only going to add, this is a champagne-based cocktail, so we're only going to add a 1/4 ounce. But this is actually infused with caviar. So you've got that briny salinity from the sea, but it's a neutral spirit, and it's just subtle. It's very muted, and it's a lovely, lovely spirit. And then to that, we're also going to add a 1/4 ounce of the JCB white truffle. And this is
wow. So you're going to blend them together.
Who thought? Why not? And I want to tell you what, there's a logic here. There is a logic behind this. It's not, I'm not just throwing expensive ingredients together and saying, have at it. It actually pairs and blends very well, and I'm going to explain that. First of all, the truffle, of course, everyone who's ever had white truffle knows it's got that beautiful aromatics on the nose. So we've got these white olive truffle. And then I'm going to add a little bit of cognac. Now, this is the JCB cognac. Now, this is an XO. And for those who are spirit nerds like myself, we know that cognac must be aged a minimum of 10 years to be called an XO cognac. But this one is a blend of cognac between 37 is the youngest eau-de-vie, and the oldest is up to 42 years old. This is an exceptional. I'm going to add a 1/2 ounce of that. And this has a natural sweetness from the oak. They use French limousine or oak, which is that beautiful round texture. It's naturally sweet in the most wonderful way. So now we've got salty, we've got sweet, we've got the beautiful aromatics of the truffle, we've got the saltiness from the caviar, and then we're going to add some bubbles, of course, and this is going to provide texture. And here we're using the JCB champagne. It's beautiful, dry, and we're just going to fill that up all the way, almost about an inch from the top. And here we're using the Baccarat Mille Nuits Flutissimo because everything tastes better in Baccarat. I'm slightly partial to Baccarat. All my books I use Baccarat. And here we have this beautiful cocktail, but it's not quite done. We have to garnish it. And what we're going to do is a little demi-tablespoon of these Caviar Gems. And you put them in, and as they put them on top, I actually put in 2 of them in there. You'll find that as they and we're soaking that in the cognac. So now they're floating on top, but they'll start to sink down into the champagne and the bubbles will force them back to the top. And just for good measure, I've also taken a little slice of truffle on top.
Ha ha ha!
And why not?
Why not, baby?
And why not? And so this is the Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams cocktail. I'm going ahead and
I'm reaching. You're passing it on to me. Thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
Look at that, dear friends. What? Hey, can you believe we've made it from Las Vegas all the way to Napa Valley, Polina?
Ryan, you're a magician.
He is.
Cheers.
And you've always used those beautiful baccarat flute as well,
Oh,
the mille nuits, huh?
Bartenders are used to stretching out long arms. But think about this. This is champagne, cognac, truffles, and of course, caviar. It's opulent, it's
delicious.
decadent luxury.
I'm having spasm. I'm in a state of orgical stage, orgasmic stage.
And
This
did you
is
know,
insane.
Jean-Charles, that caviar is the nature's aphrodisiac? Did you
It
know that?
is.
Yes.
So tell
Caviar.
us more. Polina,
Later,
tell
Jean-Charles.
us more detail about that.
Caviar is a major aphrodisiac for many, many centuries, all the way back to Aristotle's days. So yes,
Is it why Mrs. Kennedy has it as her diet?
yes, Jacqueline Kennedy's favorite diet, her only main diet was a caviar. She ate caviar and baked potato every day. And that's how she stayed so thin and beautiful.
Well, this is not a bad combination.
Exactly. That's her.
So, Brian, how were you so audacious to actually blend caviar vodka, truffle, cognac, and then obviously the gem caviar?
You know, I always have to throw the success of my career back to my mentor, Chef Keller, because he taught me that when you're using luxury ingredients, you want to be generous. We want to taste the caviar. We want to have those ocetra, bubbles burst in our mouth, or if they have a little crunch, in this case, because they're dehydrated, it's remarkable. We want to smell the truffle. We want to get the texture from the champagne, and then of course the little sweetness from the cognac. So it's sweet, it's salty, it's aromatic, it's textured, it's balanced, and it's just for me, it's just a really lovely aperitif before a wonderful meal.
Well, and you've made it so luxurious. You call it ultra luxury.
I think I think I would call this an affordable luxury, ultra luxury cocktail. And by the way, it's not a coincidence that I use the JCB Spirits collection, because everything has a great base. If you think about it, all the ingredients here, the vodkas, the cognac, and the champagne are all great base. And so these are all working together to create that beautiful balance. And that's what we're looking for as a mixologist, is that balance.
Well, this is unbelievable. So, dear friends, we should ask Polina, besides having Caviar Gems as a cocktail, how other application would you recommend?
I would recommend it on risotto. We have our chef Grant McPherson, who's a wonderful ambassador of ours, put it on gorgeous scallops.
Oh.
Just put it on scallops, and it was absolutely orgasmic. It was delicious.
No, this is a great idea on that. What else would you recommend otherwise?
I would recommend it just on its own, right out of the jar as a treat, like as a snack. Did you know that Caviar Gems is twice the nutrients, and it's got selenium, it's got vitamins, it's got vitamin K, B12, 6, all of those wonderful vitamins, and iron, and it's a great protein source. So you can actually get your nutrients in for the day by sprinkling it on your food, making anything you want. It's versatile. The world is yours. So whatever you would like to make with Caviar Gems, you make it and enjoy the heck out of it. That's why we created it, to live a life well lived. That's
the world is not enough.
Here, here.
No.
Polina, Brian has a big question. He didn't want to ask you. He asked me to ask you if it's true. He heard that it was an aphrodisiac. Is it true?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. My husband can attest to that.
And can you attest to that too?
Yes, I can. I think so.
Because
I
who
think
needs
so.
the most? Is it the man or the woman?
Both.
I think
We're
so.
equal opportunities here. So
I'm
absolutely.
taking my wife out for her birthday this week, and I promise you that I will be ordering some extra caviar on the side. So, voila, some caviar. Maybe I can bring a bottle to the chef and have him sprinkle it over our dinner on Sunday.
Hey, Brian, so where do you see in your world of cocktail, you just published a beautiful book, again, your 5th one,
Yes.
with Assouline on whiskey cocktails. Yes, show us this beautiful achievement. Look at that.
Gorgeous. That's
unbelievable. Where do you still
on tequila? The tequila book we wrote with Casamigos and Randy Gerber and George Clooney, but this one, whiskey, I just wanted to show some love to all of the whiskeys around the world, and we use both Scotch whiskeys, Irish whiskeys, American bourbon and rye, and we just do it, and Japanese whiskey, of course. So it's just a wonderful expression. It's a fun way to do it. By the way, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I have another cocktail that I made just for you.
We are ready. We are ready. Pass it on again. We'll get it.
Wait.
Bring it on, Brian.
I'll hand it to you. First of all, for this one, I wanted to use the JCB Baccarat Flutissimo, which is, I just got this in the mail 2 days ago, and I'm so excited. It's a gorgeous flute. Wow, very nice.
Thank you.
And what we're going to do, we can take a little bit of agave nectar or a little truffle honey, even if you wish. But either way, you can just hit the tip of it into the honey, and then push along the outside of it, and you put on the Caviar Gems onto the rim.
Oh yeah. Is it decadence?
But of course. And the beauty of it is that as you're taking a sip, you're getting the sweetness, the sour, you're getting the balance, but the Caviar Gems actually provide that little bit of texture and crunch, which just makes this. Now, this cocktail, I have to let you know, is called Boisset's Vesper, and there's a reason why. As we know, for anybody who knows, Jean-Charles, they know that he's been called the James Bond of wine.
Thank you.
Well, it wasn't me who called you that. It was somebody else in the press, and you've been called that many times, as you know. I'm going to brag on you. Now I get to be, I'm working with the great Jean-Charles Boisset, and I'm trying to tell you that he's amazing, and so we decided to create a wonderful cocktail called Boisset's Vesper. And of course, who could Boisset's Vesper be? We know James Bond's Vesper was his girlfriend, but who do we think might be on your side? Maybe Gina?
Well, I hope so.
I hope so. All right.
She's often in front of me, I married up, so.
As did I. I absolutely married up. Now, so for this cocktail, what I wanted to do is
Thank you.
Vesper is 1 part vodka, 2 parts gin, and 3 parts Kino Lillet. But I wanted to use the JCB botanical vodka. And so what does that mean, botanical vodka? When we think of botanicals, we're thinking of gin, but this doesn't have juniper in it, which is traditional. It has other botanicals, and so it's a flavored vodka with all these natural botanicals, much like a gin, but it doesn't have that strong pine thing that we've got going on for most gins. So what we're going to do is we're going to put about 4 ounces of that, because we're going to use the larger Flutissimo. So, and I know you like a good cocktail, so I'm going to.
We're watching you. This is impressive. I love the idea, and Gina is going to be thrilled that now she has a cocktail almost named after her for the ultimate moments together.
Well, you'll have to tell me if you like it. We're also going to add a little bit of Lillet Blanc. Now, Lillet is a fortified aromatized wine. And it's got a little bit of almost like a fruity quality to it. We could call it a white vermouth, but it's a little bit more fruit forward. Not sweet, just slightly fruity. And so we add that to there, and that gives it just a little bit of a sweet component, very soft, very muted, very subtle. And then to that, we have our mixing glass filled up, and we add our ice. And always we want to add large ice cubes. Okay? And we want to stir that down. And we want to make sure that we stir it nice and long, because the alcohol is about 40% alcohol by volume, the vodka is. And we want to stir that down to about 18 to 22, just a little higher than a good glass of wine. And the reason is we want to enjoy all the flavors and all the oils that are present in the vodka without destroying all that the texture. That's why we're stirring it. But by the way, despite what James Bond says, you should always stir your martinis and not shake them.
Ah, thank you. I love it. I'm with you. Agent 69 disagrees with James Bond because indeed you stir, you don't shake. You don't bruise the cocktail. You gently work with the energy of, look at how Brian has a beautiful wrist movement in that elegant jacket. I love it. This is all about style.
I should also point out to you, this is by coincidence. I actually had my tailor in Hong Kong make this for me. This was actually the same exact tuxedo that Daniel Craig wore in the James Bond movie. So I'm looking out for you. And now we have.
You are looking fabulous. And I like it because we have today the reverse color. I'm blue shirt and you are deep blue jacket, and I'm white jacket and you are white shirt.
Yes,
so
I call it
the opposite
coordinated today to make sure that. All right, now we want to pour it in and we want to keep it low to keep all. We don't want to aerate it with bubbles. It should be very oily and creamy. And there you can see it has a very silky texture to it.
Wow.
But it's not quite complete. Now we've got the Caviar Gems on top. It gives a little bit of brininess, a little fishy. I don't want to say fishy, but we know that caviar has that ocean-like briny quality to it. We have the sweetness from the Lillet. We have the body from the botanical vodka, but we need a tiny bit of acidity. And the way to do that, I'm going to take a lemon. I'm going to cut a nice peel.
Lemons.
And as most people, if you've never seen it before, all of the oils in there, when you do a lemon twist, we're going to squeeze those oils. But those oils, when you caramelize them, they actually ignite.
Oh, gorgeous.
And then we squeeze it firmly over the cocktail. 1, 2, 3. And voila.
Et voilà.
Et voilà.
La magie.
And this is the Boisset Vesper.
Oh, reach for me, reach for me. Ah! Got it. Thank you. God, look at the magic.
Gorgeous.
Wow. Polina, what do you think? The aroma is insanely tempting. It's contagiously attractive. It's orgasmically invading all my nostrils. Now I'm going to let my lips go inside. Polina, we're looking at each other. We're going in.
We are.
This is very close to what James Bond would have been drinking, but with the Caviar Gems and the JCB Collection.
Delicious.
Yes, but of course.
But of course.
Mais bien sûr.
By the way, I wanted to show you on the other cocktail that I made. Look at the Caviar Gems, how the bubbles from the champagne force the gems to go up. It's almost like a lava lamp, but it's a beautiful display. And then you have that little slice of truffle at the bottom. So, wow.
Cool. So cool.
This is so exciting. So, Brian, what is, before we go back to Polina talking about this caviar world, what is your process of creativity? Because you've created hundreds of cocktails of your own with your own signature. Give us your thinking process and how you could still innovate in that phenomenal world of cocktail.
You know, it's such an interesting question, and I'm afraid I have to go back to Thomas Keller again, but he taught me how the principles of flavor profiling on how to pair wines with food. And when you're building a great cocktail, it really comes down to balance of 3 things: acid, sugar, and alcohol. So all you have to do is identify, always use fresh ingredients, of course, and quality spirits, of course. but then identify your acid, your sugar component, and your alcoholic component. And the idea is to find that balance so that it's not too strong, it's not too weak, it's not too sweet, and not too tart or acidic. And if you can find that flavor profile, that flavor zone in the middle there, then you always have great tasting cocktails. And if you use fresh ingredients and quality spirits like the JCB Collection, you will always have the best tasting cocktails, 100% guaranteed.
That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. And thank you for saying that. And in your sleep, do you dream about cocktails?
No, recently I've been dreaming about caviar. But
Caviar Gems.
Hey, to find you more palatable, is your wife sprinkling them when you sleep on your chest?
well, I mean,
Invites you?
my wife is
Flavor and attraction.
and she's no dummy. She married a mixologist on purpose. She's like, I need somebody to make me a cocktail at night. People always ask me what my favorite cocktail is, and my response is always the same. It's the one in my hand.
I love it. Well, Brian, thank you immensely. This is quite amazing. So we're going to have another question for Polina. So what's your dream when you think about your latest creation, Caviar Affair, for 18 years of great success? You've been leading some of the most exciting caviar company in your life as well. Where do you see, before even we go to your dream, where do you see the caviar world in America?
The caviar world in America is actually going to be embracing caviar more and more now that it's become super sustainable and humanely harvested. There's more sturgeon farms that make beautifully produced caviar every year, more are coming up. And I think that now I hope that and dream that more people will be able to experience, enjoy, and get the nutrients, get the beautiful flavor of good caviar every day for their table, not just for special occasions. Caviar should be enjoyed.
And that's your creation. How did you get actually the idea to create Caviar Gems?
Caviar Gems was created to make the extraordinary accessible. It is a rare special ingredient that transforms and enhances food and drink. Mixologists and chefs love it because a little bit goes a long way. It's the ultimate finishing touch.
Or passion. Eat it with passion.
Jean-Charles, if I may, I forgot to mention, if you want to do something really special with that cocktail, take a little splash of the number 8 Cremant from the JCB Collection. Put a splash of that in there, and if you want, just drink the Cremant just by itself with some Caviar Gems. You take a little bite of gems and then take a sip, and I promise you it is an exceptional experience.
Well, we are doing it right now. What you shall ask, we will receive.
It is something I played around with yesterday, and I thought, this is something special. This is something that your guests really have to try.
That's such a great idea. And Brian, give us your last thoughts on why Caviar Gem everybody should have. And you mentioned it, you should have it in your pantry. But where do you see the application besides what you do?
Well, I've already explained in the world of mixology why it is such a great idea, because you can, even in the kitchen, even in the pastry department, of all places, you can be as creative as you want. But on steak, on salads, on fish, obviously, it just has that salty, briny quality to it. It has texture, it has crunch, and it's shelf stable. Everybody loves caviar, but we can't keep it in our refrigerator year round. It has a shelf life. Caviar Gems you can keep in the pantry all year round and reach for it when you need it for that special occasion, or even that not so special occasion when you're sitting on the couch by yourself and no one's looking. So it's just, for me, it's such a versatile product. It's a really, as Polina said, it's the most remarkable innovation in the caviar industry that I've seen in my 30 plus some odd years in the industry.
And you wouldn't be able to do with the regular caviar that gorgeous decoration that you've done on the glass.
That's true. It wouldn't stay. It would not stay.
It wouldn't stay. So what is your inspiration, Polina, in all the things you've created? You've been a phenomenal entrepreneur all your life. Where do you get that inspiration?
To be honest with you, I get it from my travels, my family. my husband. He really inspires me daily. He's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, his name is David. He's awesome. But I'd love
And he's with us today, which is great. I can
always
feel his presence.
he's with me always. But I would love to tell you one thing, and Brian, you too. I think the cool thing would be is for everybody to have caviar cocktails at home, like get a JCB Caviar Gems cocktail kit for
Yeah.
your home.
That's
I
right.
think everybody should have it all over the country and maybe the world too, because now you could make caviar cocktails like Brian.
Absolutely. So on that note, Brian, what should be in that cocktail kit within the JCB world and Gem? What else should be there? Whatever we have in front of us?
Yes, of course. Well, so today, for the Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams cocktail, we use the JCB truffle, caviar, truffle, and then their XO cognac. That was I just, by the way, that is something special that you can just drink by itself. All of them you can drink by themselves, but this is for me. And then of course this beautiful dry JCB champagne, which I really love it. It's got these little, I get a little bit of toasted almonds and coconut on there, but it's just really dry and just a beautiful, high acidity, great way to start a meal, champagne. And if you haven't had it, and then of course the other cocktail, we're using the JCB botanicals and the cremant, and on both of them, and then a little bit of the cremant with the what did I say, the Lillet Blanc. And then on both of them, I do the rim of the Caviar Gems on the Boisset Vesper, and on this one, on the Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams, we're just having them float up and down, and it's just such a beautiful visual. People just love it. So
amazing inspiration. So now, Polina and Brian, what is your dream?
My dream is for the world to open up so we can go travel in style again.
I thought your dream was for everybody to travel with Caviar Gem.
Well, and yes, of course, and that goes without saying. Because now you could put it in your suitcase, and then you could take it to the Versailles and have a picnic in the garden with it.
Ooh, a Versailles garden picnic. I like this.
Mhm.
I'm going to take it, dear friends. I'm leaving to France in a week, and I'm going to have it in my suitcase, but not in the one you put at the bottom of the plane, in the one next to me, so I could sparkle the salad in the plane, and it will improve Air France meal, I'm sure.
I'm sure it will.
In a great way.
In a great way.
you know,
And Brian, what is your dream?
well, I always say Humphrey Bogart used to say that the problem with the world is everybody is one drink behind. So it is my dream to that the whole world have one Caviar Gems cocktail on me, and when I say on me, send the bill to wherever that is, and then it is my dream to get together with you and Gina very soon, with me and my wife, and maybe Pauline and her husband, and let's all have a proper toast with maybe this Champagne Wishes and Caviar Dreams cocktail. So you.
I'm going to drink to
Thank
that
you, that's
fantastic dream. I love it. And what about you, Brian? Besides this beautiful saying of Humphrey Bogart, we are drinking behind, which I fully agree, and having a great time together. Any big advice to anyone around the world with us tonight?
Yes, yes. If you're going to make a great cocktail, always follow your recipe. Balance the acid, sugar, and alcohol. Always use quality spirits. Use fresh ingredients, and of course, if you have access to it, get those beautiful Ocetra Caviar Dreams. But honestly, making great cocktails in the restaurants, you can make them at home. It's not difficult. You just have to taste it and ask yourself, is it too tart? Is it too sweet? Is it too strong? Is it too weak? Adjust in the right direction, and you always have the best cocktail.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Brian, Polina. What a day. Dear friends, didn't we get lucky? This is the beginning of the summer. We're going to have an amazing time. And remember, Polina, Caviar Gem, and Brian, the best cocktail maker on the globe. Bonsoir. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Santé.